Rose and Spears, and we are Supremely Black. We have the honor of having a special guest on this week, Mr. Jahmal Cole from Chicago. Mr. Cole, how you doing emotionally this week?
Well, thank y'all for having me. I'm feeling upbeat. When I think about my emotions, I think about how it influences my behavior. And so, I definitely feel upbeat. I ran 3 miles today. I worked out. So I'm feeling vibrant. That's how I'm feeling, bro.
That's what's up. That's what's up. How about you, Flake?
It's your big kinfolk, Jay Flake, man. My emotions are in a good space. I'm happy and smiling. Just a lot of positive energy. There's been going on the last few days. So, hey, man, I'm all smiles here, and I'm emotionally okay. So that's what we're working with this week.
Let's go.
Yeah, this your boy D Rose, man. I'm in a great space. I actually, unlike Jahmal, I didn't get in my 3 miles a day. I've ran the last 2 or 3 days, so I took a break today. So I got me some paleo in, some sit-ups and some push-ups to keep my energy high. But overall, emotionally, I'm in a great space, so I can't complain at all. How about you, Spears?
Emotionally, I'm on a high. Just to just to have a man on that is creating a path similar to what we're walking down roads with our nonprofit as well, and then some political aspirations for one of us on the podcast and everything. So just to have him on, to talk to him, to learn from him, but then also to just hear his story, that's an emotional high. And then again, also just to hear that he runs as well, and we're in the run group. I didn't get my 3 miles in today either because I had some other obligations, but just to know that, to see another powerful Black man, a king, taking care of his mind, body, and spirit is just a beautiful thing. So that's an emotional high just in itself. And then, everything that's been happening with us with the nonprofit, and then, podcast and all of that stuff, I'm on an emotional high personally just off of that. So it looks like we all doing good this week, and that's a blessing. So blessings to y'all. So Mr. Cole, I just want to ask you to just give a brief overview about yourself, where you come from, what you do, why you do what you do, and then we'll get into a little bit more of, certain aspects of what you're doing in your community.
Yeah, well, again, thank y'all for having me. My name is Jahmal Cole. I'm a nonprofit leader. I'm a community activist. I've been fighting out the Chatham corner on the south side of Chicago for the last 12 years. I do what I do because, growing up, I watched Malcolm X so many times. I wanted to be like him. I didn't know what it meant, but I wanted to speak in front of beauty supply stores. I wanted to speak in front of currency exchanges, and I wanted to tell people the truth. My dad played a lot of Richard Pryor. He played a lot of Gil Scott-Heron and Malcolm X, growing up. And he always, my dad was an author. He always had a typewriter. And he was like, this next book gonna get me kicked out the country, son. And so he was always like writing, and he never finished it, but he was always writing. He ran for alderman when I was 11 years old. But even prior to him running for alderman, my dad was like a mentor in the hood. He would show up in the basketball courts, buy weed from the young men and still play ball and still still mentor them. And so my dad was always like the dude in the suit mentoring people in the hood. And so I grew up under that. Maybe my father, we had a lot of struggles. We lived in a lot of homeless shelters. We lived in a lot of motels. We ate at Catholic charities, but my dad was always about hold your head up high and go eat that food, and unrealistically believe in your goals because you're gonna be a senator one day. So I had a great father, that's why I do what I do today. I run a nonprofit organization called My Block, My Hood, My City. I started it in 2013 by volunteering at Cook County Jail and writing rap lyrics with a young man as a form of therapy. And just getting to know the young men at the jail, I realized that they had never been downtown, even though they could see the Sears Tower from the jail, they'd never been. They had never waited for a taxi or been to the lake. Their whole worldview was shaped by the infrastructure of their neighborhood, like North Lawndale or a little village or Inglewood or South Shore or Roseland. And so I knew immediately I wanted to do something about that. And so I started taking young men from barbershops in the hood on educational field trips to expose them to different cultures and professions. So quick example, if there's 15 currency exchanges in their neighborhood and there's no banks, I take a kid to a bank to expose them to a bank and what the jobs are there. So, Now we work with over 150 students a month in 15 different high schools. And we also work with over 100 block clubs in the city, helping them, improve the quality of life in their block however we can. And we also work with a lot of small businesses with our small business relief fund. So it's called My Block, My Hood, My City, because in the jail, everybody talked about their block and their hood, and we want to expand their worldview to their city. And I love what I do. And that's why I do it.
Awesome, awesome. And that was one of the reasons why we had reached out to you, because we heard about your nonprofit. I seen you, I Googled you first, and then I followed you on Instagram to see exactly what was going on with the Chicago movement and what you was doing. I see that you also, so let me ask you this. So since you are working with the youth, and you stated that some of them have never been outside of their neighborhood, never been downtown Chicago. Can you see that as maybe one of the problems that exists within not only Chicago community? I hear the same thing when I went out to visit LA, the same type of situation where they kind of pigeonhole themselves to their one neighborhood, and the beach is literally 15, 20 minutes away, never been outside that neighborhood. Do you think it's just the opportunity of not getting out of that neighborhood and seeing other things that's going on that possibly could get these young men to say, hey, I can actually, I'm good with numbers. I can work at a bank, or, maybe, I see a beach and I can swim pretty good at our local pool. Maybe I could be a lifeguard at the beach or something like that.
Yeah, man. Like Jay-Z said it best when he said he had never left Marcy Projects his whole life until he got to 6th grade. And his teacher, she actually took him to Manhattan, and she took him to her condo. And when he got to her condo, she showed him an ice dispensary machine in a refrigerator. And when he saw that ice dispensary, he was like, man, I want to get a condo one day so I can give my mom an ice dispensary machine. And so like that fish out of water experience that Jay-Z had from going from Marcy Projects to Manhattan, that's exactly what we curate for teenagers every week in Chicago. So, yeah, man, if you show people better, they can do better, right? But if they don't know no better, they can't do no better. So what we do is we believe exposure is key, and traveling is transformative. So it's really easy, man. You just take kids to a trading firm so they can learn about Microsoft engineering, or if they're interested in culinary arts, we take them to a chef downtown to teach them how to run a restaurant. If they're interested in design, we take them to a hotel to learn about experience design. It's just, if they're interested in sports, instead of taking them to show how to hoop, we might take them to who cuts the lawn at the football field. They get paid $250,000 a year. What are they doing? It's all about exposure to different jobs, and that's kind of what we do through our Explorers program.
That's dope. That's dope. So in 2013, what gave you, or what sparked the idea to start your nonprofit? Was it just being tired of seeing those conditions that you grew up in and that you see others going through, or was it just spark from your father? Because I read and I heard you talk about your father and how close you are, and so the example that your father set for you, what actually sparked that for you to decide, I'm gonna go ahead and do this in 2013?
Yeah, man, it was just trying to be like Malcolm X and just give speeches. I self-published a few books, and I used to sell them downtown Chicago in front of Foot Locker. And, people would laugh at me every day. I wanted to quit every day. I was embarrassed every day. I didn't make no money every day. People laughed at me, shunned me, all that stuff. But somebody from Cook County Jail read the book and were like, oh, this is inspiring. Come to the jail and speak to the 18-year-olds. And so, I got to the jail and they said, oh, no, we didn't say 18-year-olds. We said AT. It's an acronym for automatic transfer. And these young men and women are going to prison for 20 plus years. But before they go to prison, we need you to motivate them. So will you do it? And so that pretty much got me into the jail. And when I got into the jail, I realized wearing a suit and tie, I wasn't connecting with people. So I just started putting on my hoodie and just start rapping, because that's what I loved doing growing up. And through rap, it just disarmed the students. I mean, it disarmed the people. I don't like calling people inmates. It just disarmed the residents there, and it allowed us to be vulnerable, and that built a bridge for us to connect. So that's kind of how I got into Cook County Jail.
Yeah. First and foremost, man, I commend for everything that you're actually doing within your community. I think that's dope, especially with the kids. I had I looked at a few of the YouTube videos and Googled as well, like Flake was saying. But for you, what do you think is the biggest thing that you've actually done within your community, and why? Like, what's the biggest impact you think you've had so far?
Well, I would say that's a great question. The biggest impact that I've had in the community, I would say, man, just seeing I have a 10-year-old daughter, and she gave her first speech 5 years ago at Earth Day. And I think that was just taking her to the alderman's office. And before we get there, we look at the lot IDs and see, hey, we need to give this lot ID to the alderman because there's a lot of trash. And the alderman needs to send the city to cut the lawn so we can pick up the trash at a volunteer event. So let's go talk to him. And I just teaching my daughter the fundamentals of, change isn't like Amazon Prime fast. It takes, levels to it. And so just teaching my daughter the levels to that has been really fun for me.